Be humble and play by the rules is something that we learned. But I also learned something else. Even though all these challenges we went through were unbreakable. Because last month could have been a month where we pointed fingers at each other and we said, hey, it's your fault. All the stress could result in teams breaking up and not going the right direction. All right, so we want to get back to profitability. Okay, profitability means that the agency needs to start making money because the agency cannot be losing money and everybody else be making more money. So maybe I could go a couple months, 3 months, but if this continues, then you guys will see my moods changing and making more drastic changes. So what do you guys think we need to do to help the agency make more money? Retention? Yeah, so our customers staying with us longer. That is definitely a big part of the game plan. Absolutely, Diana, thank you for that. Because that's how we get paid here. Okay, it's not how much we sell, but it's also how much we keep. What else? Cross-selling, okay, yep, cross-selling, yep, life insurance. That's gonna make people stay with us longer because, if you have auto and a life, it's a very lower chance that they'll leave us. And that extra revenue helps us, the agency too. Because if you write enough life policies, we'll probably eventually get there. The agency actually makes bonus. Now, right now, I'm paying everybody the commission to you guys straight up, and I'm not making anything, so the bonus will help us too. So cross-selling life is definitely a big part of helping us make more money.
And broker fees.
Broker fees. I'm surprised that came from you. But yeah, no, it's a big part. Absolutely, Jeanette, is that, and I really appreciate you for that. Is raising up everybody's belief in that we can charge more and we can collect more. But yeah, that's kind of like great ideas there. But in the big picture, I just want to, if you want to say it like in one word, it's like we got to be smart. Okay, we got to adapt to changes. Now we'll go over the definition of smart in a little bit too. And if you're smart, we also have to strategize, and that's the strategy I want to go over with you guys a little bit today. Okay. So when it comes to being smart, what would you guys say is the definition, or what's the meaning of being smart? What does it mean to be smart?
Knowledgeable. To be a step ahead.
Knowledgeable, you gotta know what you're doing. Okay, you're thinking ahead is a good one too. Okay, so you kind of see the trends and be ready for changes when they come. What did you say, Nathan?
Thinking like logically.
Thinking logically, yeah.
Doing things the right way.
Yeah, that's important too. A lot of the dumb things you do are because you got too emotional. Okay, so being logically, objectively, and not being biased and not being emotionally. Okay, that's when you make bad decisions. And what would you say?
Doing things the right way.
Doing things the right way, that's smart. Okay, that's what we're learning right now too. Being adaptable. Yep, we gotta adapt. So great answers there, guys. Okay. Now, one thing I learned recently that I thought was very interesting, which gave me a different perspective of what it means to be smart, because, who doesn't want to be smart? We all want to be smart, right? Smart means that when you get new information, you actually change your behavior. Okay, because you can know everything. Some people know everything, but they're still acting the same way. And when you change your behavior, when you learn something and you actually change, that's actually what makes you smart. So sometimes, if I have a certain way of doing things and I tell them how to do it, and maybe some of you guys have experienced, Maria, training people, and you say, hey, do it this way, but then their behavior is not changing, that's a clear sign of that they're not smart. Okay, but if you tell them one thing, like I've done with, Maria, when Laura first started, okay, tell them one thing, and it's like, okay, boom, like I don't have to tell them one more time. Their behavior changed, and that's the definition of smart. Because you're able to change your behavior. Because I have people that say like, hey, like, well, I've read this many books, I read a book a month on business development. I'm like, well, have you changed anything at your business? They're like, no, well, you're not getting smarter. You might think you're getting smarter, but you're actually not changing anything. That's kind of why when you go to school, you're not getting smarter, because your behavior is not changing. So they're not making you smarter because you're just doing the same thing and not changing your behavior. So we got to be smarter, meaning that we get this new information. Companies are like, you got to get the pictures now, you got to get the registration. Change your behavior. That means we're smart. Okay, odometer readings, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and I want to consider our agency as a smart agency. So changing behaviors and being adaptable is the definition of being smart. And that's what we want to do here. let's talk about our strategy, okay? Because now if you're smart, now you're gonna strategize. And strategize basically is another word for prioritize. There's so many things we can do, but we have to think of what's important, what's gonna help us to get more profitable. And I wanna tell you guys a little bit about strategy, okay? So my strategy is to make our product better. So the product basically with the insurance means that the customer's experience has to be better. So one of the major problems is they call us, we don't answer. Okay, that's not good. Okay, that doesn't make us look good. And we have to have more people ready, attendance-wise, and just being here and picking up calls. Because I was doing a consultation with another agency owner, and he was kind of a funny guy because he was so honest. I was like, so how's your staff? Like, how's your sales agents, you know? They're like, oh, terrible. Yeah. Closing ratio, just no one could really sell. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, how's your retention? It's like, oh, trash. Trash. It's like, he's like, my he told me how much the CSRs call off. I was like, oh, wow, that's more than mine. Right? And I was like, okay, well, so what are you thinking? What are you thinking of doing? I was like, I want to market. I want to buy more leads. I was like, that's your solution? Because if you're spending more money and they can't close them, and even if you sell some of them, they're gonna leave. Like, it makes no sense to like focus your attention on getting more leads, because like you're basically letting the whole world know, like, hey, my agency sucks. Everybody find out. The product, the foundation is not strong. Okay, so what we have to do here is strengthen our product. Basically our experience, the carriers that we have, okay, because this is the bucket here, okay, and then this is leads coming in, but there's a leak. Okay, if there's a leak coming out, then we're losing money. Okay, so I don't want to spend more money in if money is going out, if the clients are leading. Now, via customer service, we do a great job here and we stop this leak, then the water flow starts going up, and the more water we have, the more money goes around for everybody. And then we'll get a newer bucket, bigger bucket, maybe a new office. Okay, so we have to take care of our product better, meaning that we have, okay, excellent customer service reps, answering phone calls, updating Keep the right way, getting pictures, getting broker fee form signed, just everything is like on point. Then and only then is when I will want to put more money into the bucket. Because I know if everything is set up right, our LTV, which means our lifetime value, is higher. So if I know I'm going to make more money off a sale, then it makes more sense for me to market more. Because I don't want to be like that other agent who's like, everything sucks, but he wants to spend more money on marketing. That doesn't make sense, because the return on your investment for buying the leads doesn't make sense. But this month, these next few months, because things are shut down and things are not that well right now, even though we're doing the best we can, we want to get our systems and processes really tight, figure things out. We can get more customer service reps, we'll figure things out as far as who answers more calls. And then we're going to start putting more money in with the same timing as things open up. Okay, so that's kind of the strategy.
Why don't we do a quota?
Picking up calls?
Yeah. You know, like, you're the one who obviously knows how many calls come in a day. So I don't know if there's any way that we could do a quota, like, just like per average, we're supposed to be on the phone for like an hour and a half per day, or 2 hours, and you have to pick up at least like 100 or something calls per week. You know what I mean? Like something like that. I think that would help. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
it's just an idea.
Yeah, I'm open for all ideas. Thank you for that, Angelica. You know, I think we need to figure things out here, but that is definitely something I'll consider. Now, we are upgrading phone systems, so the new phone system is going to be a lot better. Okay, the new phone system is going to be like, okay, who didn't pick up when they were not on the phone, or how many hours, more like to the minute, you know, and it's going to be like, if you guys hear something where the other group was saying like someone's picking up and hanging up and stuff, we'll know all that data, and it's just going to be a lot better phone system. And that's one of the first steps of improving that experience of who's not picking up and who's not working hard on the phones. A quota might be a good idea, okay, especially for new customer service or licensed people. Hey, you gotta still do customer service. Once you reach a certain point, then you start getting leads, okay. And then there's also going to be compensation plan, because that's going to be changing next month. So it's going to be like, okay, who helped us recruit a customer service rep? Okay, who helped us recruit an agent? Who's training them? Those type of things is going to be more compensated, because right now it's a little bit too like, okay, if you sell, you make more money. Because there's other things, ways to help us out. And I don't want everybody to be like, oh, I don't want to do customer service because I'll get paid more on sales. So there's going to be a lot of things that we have to figure out. But I'm glad that we're talking about that, because unless we figure that out, because it's in the customer service best interest too, to have that part solid. That way they can move on to sales, because I'm not going to be spending more money when we can't even pick up calls.
Yeah.
Once we have the strategy, I can't wait to get there where our LTV is so solid. We have everybody on point, calls are being answered. We have everyone's setting up Keep the right way, and everything is set up right. And then we really could take it from there. I'm really excited about getting there, because I believe with the people we have here, because we're smart, we're going to be able to get there. So let's talk about, the gamble I'm making here, okay? Because to get what we want, sometimes we have to suffer. And so that's something I feel like I'm going through right now. I'm going to find a way, okay? And I may be the only one who's going to plan to buy more leads and hire more staff during this time. But that's just because I believe in us, okay? And it's also because, as I mentioned to you guys before, I'm kind of a gambler. And I'll tell you a story. 2007 in August, when I opened up my agency, I told you guys a little story that I was playing poker. And the last Friday before starting on my agency, I was like, okay, well, this might be my last hurrah, because once I become agency owner, I can't be gambling all my money away. So I'm just gonna have fun and try to make as much money and really go big. Last Friday, before I started my career as an agency owner at Hawaiian Gardens. So Friday, I went there and I was doing really good, playing 18 hours. And then there was this guy who was like talking trash to me, and I was talking trash back, and we were kind of like friendly, but we were just like kind of going at it, and we had the most chips at the table. And one hand, it got really big. I won't bore you guys with the details of how poker goes, but I had aces and he had kings, and we bet, and I bet, and I'm like, I know my hand's stronger than you. And it came down to one more card, and he bet 1,000. And it was poker. I had to call it, which means he went all in, he had 1,000 left. I had to pay 1,000 to see the next card. And I remember telling the story to one of my friends. He was like, dude, I don't even have $1,000 in my bank account right now. So I said, call. And then the next card was a heart, right? And there was a bunch of hearts, and he had a king of hearts, and I had 2 aces, but none of them was a heart. And he won. And he got all the money, and it just sat there, just shook, and there was a big crowd around us, and then they were like, oh, and then they left, and I was like, he had the decency to not talk shit after that. He was just like,
how much did he win?
That one hand was like 3,500 probably. Okay. And maybe more than that, yeah. So I basically lost like $2,000 on one hand that I worked all night to build up. Well, by this time it was like morning. And I was like, I couldn't say anything for like 30 minutes, and I was just like shook. And he didn't talk, and he didn't say one word to me after that, because he knew that And I went home, and then I was like, okay, well, forget this poker thing. I want to be an insurance agent. I went to work on August 1st, and I didn't have insurance, so I set up my own policy. All right, I got to sell. And then my parents were super sweet. I set up their policy up. Okay, 3 cars, 2 properties. We're way more than AAA, but they still signed up. So nice of them, right? Second day I came into the office, and I had nothing to do. I was looking at my phone like, no one's calling me? Like, why is no one calling? Because I came from AAA, where there's call center, like people calling us and like, ringing phones, quote. And I was like, shoot, what am I gonna do? And I went online. This was before iPhones, before Facebook, and I typed in insurance leads. Some companies came up on Google, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll try some insurance leads. And there's some other agency owners that were like around me. No one had their own office at that time. They were like newer agency owners, and they were like, do not buy internet leads. Like, whatever you do, do not buy internet leads. I'm saying this because I care about you. I don't want you to waste any money on this. It's like, so what should I do? He's like, you go to the Chamber of Commerce, you go to these business meetings, and you shake hands and you get to know people, and that's how you write the policies. I was like, how long is that gonna take? I want to write policies right now. I was like, I think with the internet, things are probably gonna speed up a little bit, don't you think? They're like, well, whatever you do, don't buy internet leads. Plus, they asked for like $1,000 down. I was like, okay, well, I just spent $1,000 to see one card last weekend, so I'm not really worried about that part. So I took a gamble, and that's really how I built out my insurance agency. Now, 15 years later, I'm in the same situation where I have to take a gamble. And it's very scary, but I'm gonna make it, even if I'm the only one who's marketing and hiring right now, because in business, you either grow or you die. There's no staying the same. And I just believe in ourselves, believe in our team so much that I'm willing to make that risk. And I believe it's gonna pay off in the long run. So I just want to share that with you guys. All right. So what did we learn from last month?
There's always going to be something coming up.
There's always gonna be something coming up, right? Always gonna be some changes coming up. Seems to be another change that's happening right now that I have to kind of think about. What else do we learn?
Showing up makes a difference.
Yeah, showing up definitely makes a difference. So if you're newer, I appreciate that for the ones that are showing up all the time. That's the first step, right? What else?
To do things exactly how they should be done.
Yep, the importance of compliance. Okay, that is something we definitely learned. Again, it would be such a waste if we went through what we did last month and didn't learn anything or didn't change behavior from it. At least get something out of it. At least get something out of suffering or learning or having a headache. So yeah, we learned that things can be taken away from us too. Okay, we learned to be humble because even though we're the top agency, it's actually not a good thing because they don't want us to write. So sometimes, what happened at AAA before that story is that I got fired there because I was a top agent and I thought I was a shit. Okay, true story. I really thought because I write so much, they're not gonna do anything to me. That was so stupid because compared to how much the company writes, it's nothing. Same thing here. Oh, we're number one farmers agency. It's how many cars are out there? It's 0.0000001% of what the company writes. We don't mean anything to them. That's another thing we learned. And we gotta be humble, and we have to do things the right way. And they really don't care about us. Okay, so we gotta be humble. We gotta know that we gotta be a good soldier and we gotta follow the rules and we're gonna do things the right way. I could have argued with them hey, this doesn't affect the price. Why is the punishment so steep? I could argue with them, but I'm just okay, you know what? The denominator readings were wrong. We'll never let that happen again. Okay, and just be humble and play by the rules is something that we learned. But I also learned something else. I also learned that even though all these challenges we went through, and still ending up with 500,000 on the pace we're on, that we're unbreakable. Because last month could have been a month where we pointed fingers at each other and we said, hey, it's your fault, this fault, and all the stress could result in teams breaking up and not going the right direction. But we stuck together and we didn't lose. We're here. We're writing policies. And then I also learned that because of all the challenges that's going out there and because of how resilient we are, that this game that we're playing here, there's a lot of players out there. A lot of people, we're not the only ones that want to write auto insurance. But I feel like this game is takeable. This game could be ours. We figure things out, we adapt, we're smart, we figure things out, get our LTV up, and we figure things out, and we keep working together that we could take this whole game. I know that sounds crazy, but I believe we have the team to do it. And I'm going to continue to keep betting on you guys. Do you guys want to know how much I bet? How much I believe in you guys? Huh?
I want to know.
I bet 200K. That's how much I put on it. Per month. This month, next month, every month. So that's how much I believe in you guys. So I just feel like sometimes maybe you guys need to believe in yourselves even more, because that's how much I believe in you guys. And we got the plan now. You guys know the strategy, right? Yeah. Now we just have to go out there and execute. Because please, please make me say that the gamble I'm taking and the belief I have in you guys is worth it, and you guys are proving me right that I'm making the right move here. All right, guys, now let's get it.